And then I'm going to make you a host. Okay. Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies, and welcome to Exiled Goddess. I hope you have your PDFs and your listening ears on and you're ready to rock and roll tonight. Ashley has host abilities, so she's going to be letting everyone in. We're going to start promptly at 7 p.m. I know this is a little earlier than we usually rock and roll, but 'tis school season and we got a kid to put to bed. Just like all of you, I have a little person too, so we had to make
You went purple, didn't you?
I did.
I like it. I already do.
We're getting rid of Angra Boda. No more orange hair.
Good luck with that.
That's okay. I did a little Nyx channeling. Hopefully this just keeps the peace for a little bit till Samhain, right? Time to get rid of that light hair. There's nothing about me light. Might as well not sugarcoat it, right?
Right. I have like full on, I might as well be on the barn clothes on right now. We were in the garden all day, like this afternoon.
That's how it works best, right? It's the burn month.
It does. Between that and laundry, I was like, well, at least I have clothes on.
So did you all get the PDF and read over it? There's only 2 ladies tonight because I'm going to be very honest with you. These 2 ladies have taken a lot of my energy. And I think they're going to take a lot to teach. So I want to give each of these ladies their time. You know, we never rush a workshop. So don't get excited. We're going to cover them all. Someone wrote me today and she's like, there's only 2 women on the PDF. I'm like, only 2? Only 2? Are you kidding me? Only 2? One of them speaks to all of us. So we need to give her her due and give her her time tonight. So as soon as 7 o'clock comes around, we're going to get started. For those of you that had access to the tab, you took a look at it, you see there's a red box in there this time. So instead of you waiting for Zooms, you click the red box. It hooks directly to me via email and you can ask your questions. So you don't have to sit around waiting them, holding them, wondering where to put them. You just click that red box and send them out to me. There are going to be a lot of PDFs in this workshop. Just because I'm going to do some chats, talk to you about these ladies and give you a PDF to go over them. That's why you have that little email button. It's going to make your life so much easier to ask questions. There are going to be a lot of people catching this via replay. Everybody's telling me tonight's a really big night for them and they're very busy. So I want to give you my best tonight, channel as much through this as I can. But I also want to make sure that we're covering this information properly and thoroughly. As you can all see, this is not content that I usually go over very often. This is content that a lot of us have been raised on, and I think it's important to cover our history, our backstory before we move forward. 2023 is going to be a resurgence, a reconstitution, perhaps a renaissance of our craft. We are going to do that by bringing virtues forward. In order to know what you hold dear, you have to know where you came from. And people don't understand reflecting where we came from entails it all, not just the good, but the bad as well. So when we're going through this, I don't want you to get lost in the pain. I want you to embrace it and realize how far you've come. Because this will be a workshop that is very painful for some people. It'll be a workshop that is very traumatic for you. And it'll be a workshop that will inspire insane growth. Someone commented today, I've never read the Bible. I dare call shenanigans on that. We've all read the Bible. We've had the Bible read to us in public schools. We're of that generation. So for someone to say they've never touched the Bible, I don't believe it. It's at every nightstand across the United States in a hotel. You've touched a Bible. Even when you're bored pooping somewhere, you've touched a Bible. Don't lie to me. I know you have. So don't lie. I know you've touched a Bible. Okay. Doesn't burn us anymore, but we still have touched them. Okay. So get your PDFs out. We're going to start. You might want to mark these up. You are free to hit new ones. As you've noticed, the context of the PDFs have changed greatly. We are going from a lot more writing in the PDFs because I'm eventually going to have to push another book. So I'm not going to have to work so hard when I do this book. We're going to have a good PDF to work from. Okay. So you're going to see these being a lot fuller than you've seen in the past. Okay. So don't get scared. It doesn't mean there's a lot more work. It means I'm giving you a lot more backstory. Okay. So I say we light this candle. What do you think? Okay. Welcome to Exiled Goddess. The alchemy of shame to courage. If you were a little girl like me, raised in the 1980s, yes, we had color televisions. Yes, there were automobiles. No, Fred Flintstone didn't drive me to school. I was able to watch cartoons, but only on Saturday mornings. You usually had some kind of religious upbringing. If it wasn't from your parents, who probably were dropping the ball, it was from your grandparents, okay? Or if you went to a rural Pennsylvania school like me, it was the school district who took you to church once a week because unchurched children were dangerous and they would become drug addicts and criminals, okay? So they took us all to church, gave us the 10 commandments, and taught us all these things. Rule number 1 is you do not have to attend a church to be a moral human being. You know the difference between right and wrong before you're ever put into a church. An infant never goes to the church. A 2-year-old probably never understands what they learn in church, but they know not to bite their sibling because they hurt them. Just like you know not to steal because it's wrong. You know not to lie because it's wrong. Not because a biblical story taught you so that you would burn in hell if you did so. Okay? This is an entire archetype built upon you will be punished if you do this. Stories of the Old Testament are nothing like stories of the New Testament. The New Testament is filled with hope and grace and love. The Old Testament is filled with punishment, shame, consequences, and anger. Sounds a lot like my childhood. Okay. So I was raised in the church. When you are raised under this establishment and you are of the womb owning majority, you notice I said majority, there are more women on this earth than men. Did you know that? We outnumber men because we do less stupid things. Have you ever seen men change light bulbs on a staircase landing? That is why there are more of us. Okay. So we outnumber them, but we are taught to be obedient from little on up. Now, how does this start? Well, every story we're taught is if you're not ladylike, you're punished. If you're not obedient, you're punished. If you don't have a husband, people look at you off. I remember growing up and there was a woman in the small town I lived in, and she didn't have a husband, and she had 4 children. And I remember my mom used to say, well, you know what they say about her. And she would say that statement all the time. You know what they say about her. And one day when I was 9, I said, what do they say about her? And my mom goes, she's a slut. And I looked at my mom and I said, what does that mean? And my mom said, she'll sleep with any man that'll have her. Little did I know when I turned 16, I became friends with one of her children. Her husband died in an automobile accident, saving someone else from a burning vehicle. Nevertheless, on Christmas Eve, when her children were small, she loved him so much she never remarried. But because she was alone and she didn't share her story with people, she was judged to be a slut because she had all these kids and no man around. So we are raised under the umbrella that if you are holy, you can do whatever you want. This follows through in a lot of areas of our life, not just religion. This follows through in if you make this amount of money, you can do what you want. If you're of this skin color, you can do what you want. If you have a penis, you can do what you want. That is not an equitable look at the world. That is using stereotypes and guidelines to govern people's actions. So, where do we start? In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. That's where we start. Genesis. Can't tell you how many times I had to write the book of Genesis when I was a little kid for saying a bad word. That was my punishment. Or I had to sit in a corner and say, I am a lady. I will not say profane words. Over and over and over. That worked real fucking well, didn't it?
I was going to say that explains a lot now.
That parenting effort did not work on my parents' part, okay? I had to write, I am a lady, I will not belch when I burped in front of my grandma. I am a lady, I will not fart. You know what I've learned from TikTok? Even ballerinas fart. Just going to put it out there, okay? So when you look at life, there's a lot of stereotypes that do not apply to you. The first one that doesn't wash clean with me in this whole book, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. God, all by himself. Okay, the only animals I know that can do that are frogs and turtles. Is God a frog or a turtle? Because he can't fucking do that, okay? Oh, he is omnipotent and all-knowing. But you can't explain to me why good people die. Okay? This man knows everything, yet, oh, it's all part of his plan. Does he have this in a PDF that I can download it, please? I want to see his fucking plan. Because his fucking plan sucks. Let me tell you that much. Because there's children being beaten and abused. There's women being killed by their spouses. There's drug addicts who leave their children out to freeze in the weather. There's countries that are mass killing people for their religion and their gender. This is a really shitty plan if this whole book is the absolute truth, okay? Let's start on the other plan. This is a book created by men for men to help men. Do you understand? Created by men, for men, to assist men to control these belligerent, defiant women. Okay, if I came from Adam's rib, cool story, bro. Great origin myth. I love this, okay? I'm all about a good story lantern, motherfucker. I'll take this story lantern. I'm from Adam's rib. If I'm from Adam's rib, I'm part of him. My husband should be able to anticipate my fucking needs because my kids came out my coochie and I know their fucking needs. Why can't this motherfucker know my needs? If I am part of him and he made me, then I shouldn't have to tell you, motherfucker, you should read my mind. So there's the whole point. So when my husband says, I can't read your mind, I'm like, no shit. Another reason the Bible's full of lies. Men do not like this. They do not like when we say these things. They are very offensive to them. And you hear, just shut up. I don't want to hear it. I'm not in the mood. But in some homes, that would get you killed. Some men would strike their wife for that comment because this book tells them they have dominance over her. And I hate to tell you guys, this is not the only book that gives men dominance. So if you think the patriarchy is limited to the Christian faith, oh, sister, we need to have some coffee, maybe some something longer, like some coffee cake and that coffee to discuss how many fucking establishments, communities, establishments keep women under their finger, their thumb. Come on, sit back down, honey. Sit back down. So he creates this whole thing. Let's go with this story. Great. I love a good story. So let's go with this story. Okay. He creates this place not in 5 days, not in 7 days, but in 6. Because we have to work a day and to get these motherfuckers to church. Okay. So 7, that's the day of rest. How many of you bitches get to rest 1 day a week? I'm looking for a show of hands. Your job done? Because I'll tell you what a mother's work is. It is never fucking done. What a woman's work is. A woman's work is never done. But men seem to find a place to put their ass at least 2 days a week and 3 hours a night. Okay? So I want you to contemplate this. We are going with this insane parable. Then comes Eve. And she's standing there, tits up, ass firm. This bitch has got it all. She's the perfect woman. Walking around the garden, following Adam, doing whatever he says, probably laying on her back to have sex because we know what happened to Lilith when she got on top. Out, bitch. No pony riding for you, no reverse cowgirl. You're on your back, and that's the way it works, okay? What kind of sex was that? That was probably very sad, okay? So, Eve sees this tree, and it is the most beautiful tree in the garden. If you're of Norse mythology, probably had some golden apples on it, not just regular apples. These were the most beautiful apples in the whole world. Now I'm going to put my spin on this tale. Here comes Lilith, slithering up the tree because, she's made a deal with the devil at this point. Mr. Free Will probably lets her ride on top. She's probably really got it good right now. She's got her high tits, her horns, her wings. She's living her best motherfucking life, listening to AC/DC out in the cave. She don't have to put up with Adam's bullshit anymore. She doesn't have to wash the dishes. She does whatever the fuck she wants to do, okay? She's slithering up the tree and she's like, hey, Eve, I have an apple for you. He's like, oh, I can't talk to you. You're evil. And she goes, am I evil? Because I know so much. I know so much, Eve. I've eaten the fruit and I know so much. What was the fruit? What was the fruit? She slept with a man where she was fulfilled. She had sex. She had love. She had all her senses evoked with this fruit. Lilith's like, fuck this shit. I know where it's at. Give me that apple, motherfucker. She went and made pies. She liked them so much she made pies and she's passing them out. So Eve takes the apple. And what does she do? She loves Adam so much. This apple is amazing. She runs to Adam to share. She's going to share with her spouse, which is what we all do. If I eat something amazing, whether Eric wants it or not, it's in his mouth. That poor fucker doesn't have a chance. Like, I will be eating something at a festival and he's there talking and I shove it in his mouth. I'm like, taste it. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, you'll have to taste it. It's so amazing. He's like, just calm down. So in all her goodness and her heart, she shares with Adam because she loves him and she wants him to have what she has because in her mind, they're equals. But in Adam's mind, they were never equal because God told him she would be his servant. She would care for him. She would meet his needs. I don't understand where this partnership came in the Bible because that's not how God treated Adam and Eve. She was a secondary thought. Adam was lonely, so he made him a friend. Here, I'll pull a bitch out of you. Here, take this, whatever. There's some, I don't know about you, but boobies keep men occupied pretty much 25% of the time, like just boobies. They're like, boobies, and they don't think about anything else, okay? I guarantee you're ever in a fight with a man and he is aggressive, just lift your top up. He's done. He's just like, boobies! He can't think anymore. It shuts his brain off. It's like the emergency pull switch in a plane. It ends it all, okay? Men see titties, they're done, okay? Straight men. Gay men, they're just like, boobies! And they're still a little done for a couple minutes because they want to touch your boobies too. So when you are going through this, you see her sharing with Adam and then it's over. God's like, motherfucker, that bitch did it. She ate from that tree. I cannot believe she did this. And in my opinion, my humble, yes, I'm doing blasphemy. Yes, I'm ready to go to hell. Okay, whatever. In my humble opinion, I think he was stunned by her audacity. He could not believe she ate from this tree. So what does he do? He tells Eve to kill the snake. Kill the snake, Adam. Find the snake and kill the snake. What does everyone do when someone exposes them when they have an expose going on? Kill that person. Kill that traitor. Get them out of the nest. Get them out of here. They're ruining the Kool-Aid. The cult will not follow me if everybody tastes different Kool-Aid. Okay? So she needs to be punished. But he needs to set an example. Because if he doesn't, men will think they can do whatever they want and get away with it too. But she carries the blame. She made Adam eat the apple. She gave Adam this. It was her fault. Adam never would have eaten that apple had it not been for Eve. I'm going to say if Lilith came to Adam and he was lonely, he'd have eaten that fucking apple. And we never would have had Eve's story. But what Eve shows you is even in her weak state, her choice made a difference. This aspect of her made a difference. When she loved herself enough to make a choice, she made a difference. Was it the right choice or was it the wrong choice? Because the Bible tells you it was a very wrong choice. Our modern retake through our matriarchal society says Eve made a call. Eve made a decision. Did Eve bitch and whine when she was cast out of the garden? No, she walked. That was her consequence. She left. She didn't ask someone to make it right. She didn't tell Adam, hey, you need to go talk to God and make this right. No, they both realized they were naked. They realized they pissed God off. He kicked them out. There was no negotiating. They were cast out of the garden. But what were they cast out of? A false sense of security, a false knowledge, a false reality. Because outside that gate that God kept for them was the real world, full of everything else. And when they go out there, they have children. Okay? And who do these children marry? Oh, big flaw in the plan. They were the only two people on earth. Who did these kids marry? Just saying. Sounds like God made his own sandbox, just like we're all guilty of in our lives. We make our own sandbox where we want to live and we want to have things the way we want them. If you're reading the Holy Wild, you know this is called a garden. This is called a garden where you reside, where everything in your life meets your needs. It's to your liking. And when people do things that offend your boundaries, you kick them out. You don't ask twice. You don't have a conversation about it. They're clear on the boundaries and there's consequences. So are we that much different than the God archetype in the story? No. Eve broke the rules. Eve leaves the garden. End of story. But what you can gather from Eve was she didn't know the whole truth about the garden. So she made an educated decision on what she was aware of. How many times in your life have you blamed yourself for making the wrong choice based on the lies you were fed? How many of you have stayed in a marriage with a cheating partner because you believe them? How many of you maintained a relationship, a job, a social situation because you believed it was going to get better and it didn't? You didn't trust that fruit you were given and you second guessed it. You've eaten the fruit. You've seen the truth. Some of you have seen the promised land. You close your eyes and like, I can't see it. I don't see it. That apple didn't work. I don't see the truth here. I do. Yeah, I see it. Nope, I don't. Because if you pursued the truth, it would be too fucking hard. Leaving your spouse when you have children is fucking hard. Leaving your job when you have nowhere else to go is fucking hard. Leaving the bad situation you're in is fucking hard. I know it took 2 broken arms and 2 dead babies. Do you have any idea how much I hate the fucking church? Because day after day after day, a ladies' Bible study told me, it'll get better, pray. It'll get better, pray. It'll get better, pray. I finally started believing in myself. And when I changed the trajectory of relying on Sky Daddy to fix my problems and realized, okay, I ate this apple. I married this asshole. It's my turn to walk out the garden. I'm leaving the garden. This man made $200,000 a year. Finances were not an issue. Nothing was an issue. We did not want. I did not need. I was sitting pretty in my Vera Bradley Mafia. my expensive Cuisinarts, my fucking Le Creuset cookware. I was sitting pretty, but I had a black eye every other week and had 350 pounds on my fucking ass because I couldn't stop drinking in my bathroom out of the toilet. I kept a bottle of vodka in my fucking toilet to survive. Don't tell me that a comfortable garden isn't addictive, because it is. Eve had a comfortable place, but she chose knowledge over prison. If you are staying somewhere out of physical comfort rather than emotional, spiritual, and physical freedom, you are a prisoner. End of story. Whether you're an emotional prisoner, a spiritual prisoner, or the worst case, a prisoner by choice, because you're frozen in the fear of who you will become. For 32 years, all I heard was, you don't get divorced. You don't leave your husband. You keep your marriage together. Your children need that. You know what? The day I walked away was the day I started my life. And it wasn't because, oh, I became a witch and it all clicked. No. It was because I could pee on my own. I could think on my own. And if I was going to starve, I was going to starve on my own. I made the Eve choice. I walked out the fucking garden and I walked out naked. I took nothing but my children and my fucking KitchenAid mixer. I shit you not. I had a backpack full of clothes, my breast cancer KitchenAid mixer, and my kids. That's what I fucking left with. Hey, bitch gotta have her break points, and my KitchenAid mixer was my break point, okay? Motherfucker, I earned that bitch. That was a breast cancer survival mixer. Fuck that motherfucker. He wasn't getting my mixer, and neither was some other hoe. Fuck her. When you step up to the plate and you make decisions like that, and you're ready to go, you're ready to go. What does Eve teach us? And you're looking through these papers and you're all like, oh, fuck, sissy. Just fuck her. Trust your gut. Be your own goddess. And for fucking goddess Lilith, Eve, motherfucking Bathsheba's sake, stand in your fucking decision, you coward. Don't be Adam. It wasn't my fault. She gave me the apple and I saw her boobies and I couldn't look the other way. You know what they say? He's just thinking with his dick. Pretty much. Ladies, you can think with your dick too. My dick tells me I can stand up. I can make my own choices. I can stand behind those choices. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you'll hear this come out my mouth. I'm sorry, I made the wrong choice. I fucked up there. Maybe we can go back and revisit. If not, I understand where you're coming from and I understand your point of view. And I know it. Maybe we can't go back here. Maybe this isn't a relationship that can be fostered. Maybe this isn't a situation where we're ever going to see each other's viewpoints. But I'm not going to fucking backpedal on my decision. Does that make me a cunt? Yes, it does. It does make me a cunt. And I love that word. So if you're offended by the word cunt, I'm probably not the girl for you. And this is probably not the workshop for you. Because we're going to reclaim that word throughout this workshop because you need to understand what a cunt is. A cunt was a goddess that lived in the fucking tent, who lived in the temple. She was something special. Who changed that? Oh, the patriarchy. Because they would take them out and go, we have the cunts and we're going to kill them. Because they were bad. They gave people hope and they made women strong. We can't have that shit. Can't have those women. And I know some of you work in the childbirth field and you have the most noble profession because you are bringing new life into this world and you are supporting women while you're doing it. That is the kind of energy this resurgence needs right now. You don't understand. They're not the only people who are bringing new life into this world. These healers, these women supporting other women through hard life choices. You're bringing new life into the world. You're bringing dead women back to life. How many of you feel like you're a walking tomb some days? Everything inside of you has died and you don't know where it's gone. You don't know where that woman you wanted to be 6 months ago is now. You don't know where she went. You lost her. You were so full of fire and you had her in your hands. You were just like Eve. You had the apple. You took the workshop, you did the work, you had the apple, and you were running. And then you fell on your face, and life happened a little bit, and some things set you back, and then you just forgot what you were doing. You just misplaced your ambition. Like I say to Eric all the time, I forgot my chutzpah somewhere. If you see it, please give it back. There are life moments like that. Some of them are not moments. Some of them are tides. Some of them are turns of the wheel where you lose yourself. But if you don't go looking for yourself and you don't leave this garden that you've created around you for protection, you're not going to get any better. So with this exercise of Eve, I want you to read this. How will I reclaim Eve's shame and rename it strength? And if you notice, I've given you a pretty goddess journal paper with every female in this archetype. It's blank. Print as many pages as you need. If you're going to be your own Eve, you need to write your own story. You need to write how your garden looked before you bit the apple. Or if you need to find your apple, where is your apple at? Some of you are searching for your apple. And you come to workshop after workshop after workshop looking for this golden apple. I don't know which one you want. I don't know what is going to be the tide turner for you. I don't know what is the Viking sunstone for you. I don't know what is the lucky four-leaf clover. I don't know what the cauldron looks like, the lamp of Hecate, your Lilith sigil. I don't know what the moment's going to be for you. Only you know what that moment is. But what you need to remember is when you find it, are you going to take it? Are you going to move with it? Are you going to hold it? Are you ready to be exiled? Are you ready to leave the comfort? Are you ready to make the steps? Because if you're not, the next calendar year of the LHC is going to grind your ass like a thong that's 2 sizes too small. I assure you. And I know some of us, we don't wear thongs no more. We're too old for that bullshit. But if you don't want to wear something that's too small and be choked around your neck and be fostering your witch wound and your mother wound and your bullshit wound and your excuse wound, you better get a hold of yourself and you better figure this shit out. You got till Samhain, bitches. Train's a moving. It might be a crazy train, but it's still moving. We don't have time for this anymore. We have a divine feminine to put into gear and move forward. And that divine feminine looks like resurgence energy from all of us. If we can't come back out and say, we are here, we own our space, and we are who we are not going to make it. They're going to be burning us again. They're going to be dividing us one by one. They're doing it now. Oh, they're satanic witches and they're this and they're that. Oh, white lighters are okay because they have crystal shops. We can let them in our communities. Chakra, Reiki people, crystal dealers, they're okay. They're only selling pots. It's those dark ones we got to worry about. They're selling the speed and the heroin. Yeah, I'm a crack dealer. I'm a nice crack dealer. You want some crack? I got some self-belief crack, and that's what I sell. I'm done. I'm done fucking making excuses. A witch is a witch is a witch. Which brings us to our next lady of the Bible, the witch of Endor. Now, let me tell you how a witch lived in biblical times. She wasn't what you think she was. She wasn't shameful. She didn't run in the Old Testament. She wasn't feared by everyone. She was the seer. She was the comfort giver. She was the doctor. She was in the center of town. She wasn't all the way off in the edge hiding. She had the beautiful tent, and you would walk to her tent, and her candles would be lit, and her herbs would be burning. And she brought you comfort of bringing your dead family back to you and giving you rights. The kings would go to her before battle to find out what they needed. She was prized, and no one fucked with her. No one fucked with her. She was important. Dare I say, she was hailed. But we have been taught to live in fear of our same gift. The Witch of Endor's story is brief, but it involves King Saul and Samuel, which was the previous king. And they had a conversation. The Witch of Endor brought him forward, let him talk to him, and he told him of what was going to happen. And he was comforted by this interaction, and he went on his way. This is a very brief encounter of a woman in the Bible, okay? And biblical people would teach you to not trust anyone other than the God, Yahweh. Do not trust anyone other than Yahweh. She consorts with spirits. She's evil. A goddess would never die for you, but Jesus would. So they were swinging Jesus on top of an Old Testament story to cover their tracks about the importance of this woman. What does the Witch of Endor say to you? Because I'm going to tell you exactly what she said to me when I was writing her story. I'm going to try to do this without crying. She is the shame we all hold for the magical women we are. Because a patriarchy has told us that we are to be ashamed. We are to not consort with the dead. We are to not have our powers. We are not to be attached to our blood. We are not to do this because this is not of a holy power. We are unholy. Our God doesn't make imperfect things, correct? How are we wicked? How are we wrong? We are all his creatures. That's what they tell us in Sunday school, right? God doesn't make junk. We are not junk. You are not junk. I want you to adopt a new philosophy of yourself. The goddess put me here so she could walk amongst her people. The goddess put me here so when my sister fell, I could hold her up and remind her that she is strong. The goddess put me here because my pain and my struggles will be someone's support and strength in their struggle. You are all more than a gifted little witch. You are a fucking amazing, living, breathing embodiment of our Holy Mother. We were created by a womb. We did not come from nowhere. You are a beautiful, loving, caring witch. You are mystical. You are magical. And you have all the gifts waiting for you. Do not let a patriarchy take that from you. We are taught to fear the Witch of Endor, the medium of Endor. I'd say she was a fucking extra large, in charge motherfucker in her village. Because they didn't burn her village. They didn't burn her tent. No one dared step to her. No one dared fuck with her. She was hailed by the king and protected as so. Why does her archetype hurt so much? Because we're all still hiding. We're hiding. When people ask you what you are, very few of you go, I'm a witch. Because it's a joke. Oh, you're a witch. Go fuck yourself. I'm a witch. I'm an all-knowing, 7-day bleeding channel of the goddess. I am a witch. If you don't like that, that happens to be your fucking problem. Because a Christian doesn't have a problem of coming up and telling you, do you believe in Jesus? Have you found him? Maybe you ought to keep better trackers on that motherfucker since you keep losing him. Enough's enough. You are not in the LHC to be on a fucking fence. If you are, get out. Write me after the class, I'll give you a refund. Get out. I don't want you here. If you can't say you're a witch, get out. I don't want you here. I'm sorry. There's a line in the sand. This is who I am. This is my authentic path. If that is too much for you, I apologize, but I will not take it back. I will not take us back the thousands of years we have been being pushed by the patriarch every day. I won't do it. The witch of Endor is the archetype we need right now. Her story is so brief, but her impact is so large. We forgot how positive her story was. She skipped over like she's not important. She's huge. She's fucking huge in the Bible, and they don't serve her. You know why? Because it's a book for men, by men, to serve men. She's dangerous. She's straight up fucking dangerous. She's a dangerous woman. If you've ever read the book Becoming Dangerous, I suggest you add it to your repertoire. It's a fucking fantastic book. When you become the woman they fear, you're doing this right. When you're becoming the woman, when someone else writes you and say, hey, I need help, you're like, what do you need? What can I do for you? What can I give you? How can I help you? Where are we going? What do you need? How many of you written me and said, hey, sissy, I just can't do the workshop. I'm like, here's the code. Get in. I need you here. I need feet on the street. I need asses in the seats. This is what we need. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. This is fucking coming. The divine coming is beating the drum, and it sounds like our hearts. The witch of Endor is the archetype that will move us forward. So when you think about her, are you valuing your gifts? Are you giving them space? Are you holding space for others? Some of you can barely hold space for yourself. And you're too shy to ask someone else to hold space for you. There is no shame in asking for help. Not all of us remember who we are at the same rate. It takes a dramatic shift in our lives to push it. It's like a tide. When you sit at the beach and the tide's real slow coming in and out, you'll see it gradually builds. And you'll have one moment, two moments, and then it all comes over and knocks you on your ass. Do you lose your momentum, or do you stand back up with your panties full of sand and move on? Because I know some of the biggest waves at the beach have taken my swimsuit right off me. I'm sitting there naked in the middle of the Outer Banks. I don't know if you've ever been to the Outer Banks. It's not a slumming kind of place. I'm up in the $1 million house area with my fat ass sticking out and my swimsuit falling off. I don't come back. I go further in. And Eric's coming down to the beach going, I have a towel when you're ready. It's life. And if you're not willing to walk naked, bleeding sometimes from the sand scratching your ass, gasping for breath because the ocean came in and filled your entire body, if you're not willing to go to the point that they drag the lake to find your body, to get rid of the old you, you're not ready. You're not ready to claim that word witch. And it is a hard word to claim. And if you claim it too easily, you weren't fucking ready. Because it's a decision. It's a choice to claim that word. I love when little girls come out, 20, 23-year-old girls. I'm a witch and I don't care what anybody says. What do you believe? Well, I believe. Okay, listen up. Gingy from Shrek. Shut the fuck up. Okay? This is old lady crone, old lady green beans is talking to you right now, okay? Shut the fuck up. Get off your fucking hot topic, lazy ass, black craft buy-in, fucking Barnes and Noble witchcraft book ass, and do a fucking full moon the right way. Take your hands down between your coochie cracks, smear that blood across your face, and let me hear your battle cry. Until you have made those kind of steps, motherfucker, don't you call yourself a witch. Sorry. 2023 is the year of Sissy being a big old bitch. Okay? Let's embrace it now, because that's where we're fucking going. There'll be no more of the, oh, I read the book and I know. No, you don't fucking know. Live some life, learn how to wash your ass, and we'll talk. Craft takes work. I know women who have done 2-3 turns of the wheel since they entered the craft, and they will look at me and go, I don't know what's fucking going on. I don't know what happened. 2 years ago, I was so happy and everything was so easy, and now I'm just like, what the fuck? If you're not saying what the fuck every couple weeks, are you working? Because ask Jeanette, she's in the beautiful crone stage, and she's happy as a fucking clam. But I know Jeanette has days where she's like, what the fuck? Because that's how it works. The trauma is real. The change is real. Sanity is fleeting in this craft at moments. I love when people write me and go, Sissy, I'm really not sure if I'm sane right now. I'm like, I love it. They're working so fucking hard because they're getting it. You have to doubt where you've been to go where you need to be. But the beauty is when we get to the Witch of Endor part, there's no more doubting. We're that archetype. We're fucking Jenna over there of Smoke and Soil. The long dark hair and the beautiful crafts and everything is magical. Yeah, I want to be. You notice I took dark like Jenna. I want to be awesome like Jenna. It's a far road to be awesome like Jenna. She's just the epitome of a beautiful witch. But she knows the work and she does the work. And that's why you hear me talk about her the way I do. Because I know that bitch does the work. And I know she's a real witch. You notice you don't see me supporting half-ass bullshit. Because I got to know a witch is real for me to do it. It's not a fucking joke for me. When I buy one of Claudia's items and I get that bowl in my hands, I'm like, ooh, Claudia made this. I can feel it. When I get one of Ashley's candles and I light it, I can feel it. I was at Blue Ridge, fucking pouring down raining outside. Pouring down raining, and Ashley had sent me a birthday candle. And I'm sitting in the middle of the tent with this candle lighting it. And my husband goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm having my birthday candle. Ashley sent it to me. I feel so good. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, it's magic. When you are lucky enough to touch a Witch of Endor, you will know it. You will feel it. It will resonate in your bones because your soul will recognize her soul. I have an intense emotional feeling that we all came from the same witches. We all came from the same circle. We all resonated from the same energy, and that's where we're all from. There are women who are meant to be here, and there are women who are not meant to be here. And if you're not meant to be here, I love you. I love you. I love you. Please go back where you belong. I don't want to hurt you. And I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt your fragile heart. I'm going to break you in half. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to make you face things about yourself that you're not ready for. And Sky Daddy can't heal. Because our goddess holds us up when we're a rag doll. She's like, come on, bitch. Let's go. Get this shit together. And she sees you kicking and screaming like a 2-year-old in the middle of the aisle when you can't have the fucking candy bar you want. She's like, keeps kicking and screaming. That's cute. Whatever. Shut the fuck up. She puts you up on the shelf. She's like, are you done now? And you're like, she's like, shut the fuck up. When you're done, we'll get you back down. You want to know what it's like to work with Hecate? It's like a mom that puts you in a timeout chair 99% of the fucking time. She's like, shut the fuck up. You're acting like a baby. Grow the fuck up. She doesn't want to hear your bullshit. That's why I love when people say, oh, who do you think the Witch of Endor is like? If I would liken the Witch of Endor to any witch, I'd say she's Hecate. I'd say she's the archetype of Hecate. If Hecate would stand incarnate in biblical times, it was the Witch of Endor. I see her like that. And I see King Saul coming to her and being like, oh, I want to sleep with this woman. I so want to bed her. And she's like, hold your roll here, motherfucker. I don't need this. I'm magical. I don't need dick. Get out of here. Because it wasn't necessary for her. We have become polluted by the pursuits of lust, happiness, and social media whoreness. We so much want other people to accept us and love us for who they are and what they expect of us. I can't give you what you expect of me because I don't know what you fucking expect of me. I know this workshop is what I expected of myself. I had to do this work. I had to walk this road. I had to look at these archetypes that I accepted as truths as a child. I had to. Because if I didn't, I couldn't heal. Because it's a gaping hole inside of me. Because deep down inside, I still think I'm going to go to hell if I don't do the right thing. It's an innate fear. Guess what? I've been there. In the words of Winnie Sanderson, it's quite nice this time of year. It's not what we think it is. Hell is being trapped in other people's expectations. Hell is doing what other people need instead of what calls to your soul. Some of you live in hell every day. You live for purposes, professions, marriages where you don't feel called to be. Real world nonsense is white noise. Be like the Witch of Endor. Don't listen to it. Until they come in and put the money on the counter, their problems are not your problems. Till they come in and give the energy exchange for you to care, walk away from it. The people you choose to bring into your life are important to you, not because they say so, because you believe so. Stop making people important that are not fucking important to you. That includes the circle. If you're just not into somebody, don't fucking be into them. You can love someone without falling in love with them. A sister can love another sister without really liking her. I say it to my kids all the time. I love you, but I don't like you. You act like an asshole. You ask me things and go do what you want to fucking do all the time. Those kind of people are fucking energy siphons. They don't stop. When they go from one person to one person to one person to one person. It's never going to stop for them. Say it with me. They are not my fucking responsibility. Ah, huzzah! It is what it is. The Witch of Endor gave no fucks at who came into her cave, who came into her tent. She stood straight and she said, do you have the exchange? They put the exchange down. She called what they wanted. They didn't bring the exchange. They didn't give what they wanted. You know, your exchange sometimes can just be respect. And respect is a huge virtue that is missing in the witch world right now. People do not respect people. They go from one group to one group taking what they can because it's free. That's fucking disgusting. You're fucking gross. I'm sorry. You're fucking gross. People are like, what the hell is wrong with her right now? I'm just going to say it. You want me to be an authentic teacher, and all of you are like, Sissy, so authentic. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. Authentically, some of us suck. I suck sometimes. Because when someone says something, I just want to say, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is not clicking in your fucking head that understands that you're doing the same shit over and over and over again? But it's not going to change because it's not my responsibility to change them. I can give them the tools. I can teach them the workshop. You'll notice the workshop isn't as full as other ones have been. Nobody wants this reality check. Nobody wants this biblical association because it's painful. The witch of Endor emotionally fucking drained the fuck out of me this morning. I sat for 45 minutes at my computer just sobbing as I was writing these prompts. Doesn't look like a lot on paper to you guys, is it? That shame is a huge thing. My witch shame is a huge thing. It's huge. I'm embarrassed sometimes for my children, for my spouse, for my community. I'm embarrassed. I got an email last night from a local member of a clergy of how I'm a woman of the devil and I need silenced in our community. And he put my daughter's name on it for the school board. That's where we're living, people. It's coming. I won't back down because I will be the witch of Endor. I will stand my ground. I will hold my tent. I will say my piece and I will do what is right. Because I believe I am part of everything. And I believe my soul aligns with my elements and I am here. This isn't a fucking game for me. If this is a game for you and you're just going through emotions to go through them, you don't belong here. You are not one of us. I want my sisters to be strong. I want when someone has an issue where they're at, we're like, what do we need to fucking do? Do we roll now? Do you need us? What do you want? How can we be there? How can we support? How can one of the most amazing things, I have a friend and she says this whenever I'm upset with sometimes, and she goes, how can I help you today? How can I just make this better today? Start embracing each other that way. You don't have to fix it all. How can I help you today? How can I be there for you today? You want to be a wellness circle? You want to support one another? You need to support each other in the good and the bad. Because being there for someone in the good days is just as important as being there in the tragic days. The point we're missing in the Witch of Endor is the praise is just as important as the pessimist. You need to embrace the Witch of Endor in so many ways. From the tips of her toes to the top of her crown. She didn't wear a pointy hat. She didn't have green skin. She was probably covered in dirt. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a whole bunch of cleanliness going on back then. And she smelled like perfumes and myrrh and frankincense. And she probably turned a couple tricks to meet her needs. Let's not be shy. Let's not be stupid. She had to make ends meet because she was probably a single woman. We have become complacent in the society that has sold us comfort. You are not to be comfortable, witch. You are not to be pious. You are not to be pleasant all the time. You are to be authentic and you are to be blunt. I know for some of you, it's going to be a lot to process. I gave you another beautiful journal page. Print as many as you need. If you notice, I put the Witch of Endor in the moon because in my eyes, she's the original moon goddess of the Bible. She's our only representation in the Bible of a goddess. Do you realize that? She's your goddess interpretation of the Bible. Why isn't she more hated? Why isn't she covered more? Do you know that the Roman Catholic Church has removed her from several different retellings? She's fucking dangerous. She got the Pope's attention. He's like, none of this bullshit. We're not going to have this bitch in our Bible. And she's put away. She's almost as dangerous as Mary Magdalene. Think about that. She's up there on the most hit list for the Roman Catholic Church. The King James Bible was retold for the sole purpose of strengthening men to strengthen countries. And it was built upon the concept of a fornicating king. Henry VIII started the Christian faith so he could fuck and marry Anne Boleyn. Fun fact. If you didn't know that, you're welcome. There's a bonus from the workshop. It's one of my favorite things to drop at a Christian event. Did you know Henry VIII invented the Christian church so he could screw and marry Anne Boleyn? They don't like that. They do not like when you say those things in their presence, okay? But what I want you to take from this is the magic belonged to the womb holders, and the witch of Endor was the representation of this. And she supported the other women in her village, and she held them up, and she was dangerous. So how does a king control this? He approves of her in certain measures. How many people in your life approve of your witchcraft as long as it stays in a certain box? Oh, you can do that as long as you do it this way. You can have Yule as long as you do it in like the 12 days of Christmas. You can have that. We can have Yule as long as we sing their songs, play their games, and do what they want. But don't take their Christ out of Christmas, or you're going to have a fucking problem. Wrong season, motherfuckers. He wasn't born then. Get your shit together. Let's just be honest. If we would sit and point out all the fallacies of this beautiful book that they've written for us, great story, bro. I'm going to give them credit. Great story, bro. These monks must have been on some good Frangelica in those fucking monasteries because they wrote a good fucking story, okay? Can you imagine all these men sitting around in robes, no underwear, chilling all day? So what do you want to put in this chapter? I think we should write about some whore that lived in a village and they killed her. Yeah, I heard that story too. How you want to write it? Do you ever think about it that way? Because the Grimm's fairy tale movie is perfect. When you look at that movie, when you're watching it, it's these two brothers that were running a con, and then all of a sudden they ran into the real thing. I think when Jesus came on the scene, they were all a little scared. Holy fuck, he might be the real deal. What the hell? What are we going to do? This is real. I don't think it was Jesus. We'll share that in episode 3. There's a teaser. I want you to embrace this spirit of the witch of Endor, and I want you to reclaim the word witch for yourself this new moon. I want you to bring this word into you. I know some of you already use this word, but there's no shame in renaming yourself and bringing it back in. Because this word is entrancing. For those of you that don't know, vulva means witch. Okay? It's the same word. It means witch because someone said to me today, but you're not a witch. You call yourself a vulva. That's a part of the female anatomy. I said, no, that's a vulva, not a vulva. I have a vulva between my legs, but I am a vulva. And some of you make me a vulva on Facebook with the U too. I love that. I am not a pussy, but I don't know. I think a pussy can take a hammer and not go down. So I'm just going to tell you, maybe I am a vulva. So when you guys think about this witch, I want you to reclaim it. I'm going to give you a lot more PDF work till the moon. If you're an MVP, buckle up, bitches. You saw there's new stuff added in there today. There's a whole Persephone outreach in there. You need to look at that PDF and get ready. Congratulations. You all are the guinea pigs for the new shadow work. Persephone's walking in the shadow for shadow work development. So you will be getting excerpts of that through Exiled Goddess. You need to brace yourselves. We are going down in a big way for Samhain. There will be big changes in you. And you are not getting to descend if you don't do your work. The descent Zoom will not be sent unless you submit your PDF complete with your shadow work. I'm not taking anybody that doesn't do their work. I recently had an experience in another group with a group of ladies who were not ready and did not do their work. I'm not playing that game again. I'm not going on Witch 911 rescue. People were crying. Things were bad. No, we're not doing that. Do your fucking work or you don't go down. I'm not leading you where you're not ready to go. That's an irresponsible leader, and I won't do it with you. I know better. This person did not know better. Bless her soul. I know better than taking people where they don't belong. Now, questions. Tasha will lead the pack.
This is kind of a lot when it comes to the Jesus thing. I was starting to get angry with you there for a minute. I'd like to say that I'm not afraid of telling people in which what I get annoyed with, like if I don't just go, I'm a witch, blah, blah, you know, but is, oh, can you do a spell to make me $100 or $100 million? Can you do a spell that, and I'm just like, this isn't a movie. It's really frustrating when it comes to those kind of stupid comments. Like that's kind of like where I'm just like, I feel kind of backhanded with it. You know what I mean?
Are they putting money in your hand?
No.
Then they're not your fucking problem.
Right, exactly. But
Look at them and say, give me $100 and I'll have $100. There's my spell to get $100.
But yeah, and then I think the biggest fear with it is like you were saying, but use different words, is waking people up can be very dangerous. And I think you already touched on that. And I think my biggest fear in that as a whole, you know, as a universe for women, is what are they going to make illegal next? What choices that we do have, or freedoms that women do have, which are very little anymore, are they going to take next? First, they decide that we can't, you know, have full use and control of our own womanly body parts. But it's like, now what are they going to do?
It's not the
If
first
we
time.
keep picking up? That's
It's not the first time.
It's not, but it's like, what are they?
It's
What are
not
we
the
gonna
first time.
backpedal on if they keep realizing how many of us are fucking waking up?
We keep
That's the-
backpedaling on being witches. They'll keep taking our fucking rights.
Well, no, I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that's my biggest fear in this, in my whole spiritual path, is having us all wake up as a whole is scary, because I think that's what the Bible was about. They don't want us. They want us to stay in that garden, just like you said. You know, they want us to sit there. They want us to follow everything, follow social media, buy this shit, buy that shit. But if we start waking up, that's my biggest fear, is that the government can take things from us, and that's scary. I think that's my biggest fear with it, as a whole.
I understand completely what you're saying, but there has to come a point in time where it is a personal decision over a political movement.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I agree with everything. I think we should wake up, but I don't know about anybody else, but I think that's, as a whole, is my biggest fear, is, okay, well, now what else are they going to start fucking doing with us?
Well, if we fall in place, they're going to take them faster.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but it's,
if we're compliant and nice and sweet, we're going to be handmaidens.
That was my biggest fear too. And I realized, like, no, we have to do this. There's no going back. We have to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Thank you for sharing, Tasha. Sherry?
Hey, hey everybody, and it's Cherie. I know you probably won't remember, but okay. So I wanted to ask, first off, Becoming Dangerous. What was the author of that book?
I didn't say the author.
I know, that's why I asked.
I don't know the author off the top of my head, or I would have said it.
Oh,
I'll put it in the group for you guys.
Okay. Also, I wanted to note that you have to have fear to have courage. There has to be fear to have courage. And I actually have never heard about the Witch of Endor in the Bible. I never even heard of it. And I've read a lot of Bibles. I mean, I grew up Baptist, and that we don't even want to talk about that experience, but we can't, I agree with Latasha, but we can't be afraid. If we back down 1 inch, they're going to take a mile. So we have to stand together and take it back. That's what this is all about. That's what all of this is about, is taking it back together, because that's what the fuck we're here for. That's what the fuck I'm here for, to make a fucking difference. I feel like all of that that we've been through, that shame and all that, all I'm feeling is I need to take all of that hurt and that pain and that shame that I had and channel it into this, and channel it into changing what we shouldn't fucking stand for anymore. And I want to be along for the ride.
I think what everybody needs to understand is the movement to embrace the word witch is not like the book that was written witch. The embrace to encircle that word is the ancient secret keepers, the ancient healers, the ancient holy women, the women who stood in the absence of a patriarch that cared about what happened to women. And everybody looks at it from the social norm we have currently. History didn't look anything like where we live. You're all very lucky to live where you live. That's all I'm going to say. You all sit and bitch about your rights. You have no idea how many fucking rights you have. So put that in your hat and fucking smoke it for those of you who think, oh, it's so bad here. Go fucking somewhere else and let me know how bad it is. Because there are places, if you say you're a witch, you have your throat slit. They won't fucking tolerate it. You have every right to bat your big fucking mouth off wherever you want to go here in the United States. Because someone died on a battlefield for you to have that fucking right. End of story. Yeah, our country's fucked up. I'll give you that. Our country's severely fucked up. But we have more rights here than most of the world has. And I'm not talking about healthcare. I don't want to debate fucking healthcare. The United States fucking sucks with healthcare. But until recently, y'all didn't give a fuck what was going on in your government. You're too busy raising kids and doing anything else. It's when life started imitating social media, y'all got really fucking scared. And you're like, what? What? Because social media told you to be angry about it. Some of us have been angry for a very long fucking time. Jen?
Yeah, I had to share. Going off of the fear thing, today I actually talked to a fabulous mentor, Colette Baron Reed. She said a quote that I think is really important. Joseph Campbell, who does mythologies, says, if you take one baby step to show advancement, she said, the God, the goddess, the higher power, the universe will take 10 steps towards you to open and make it be. And she pointed out today that terrorism is based in fear, that if you get everybody afraid, then nobody's wanting to take action. And I remember hearing about the witch of Endor when I was really little, and I noticed Bibles were starting to take different pieces out. And that was one of the main reasons why at my church we weren't allowed to do Star Wars, because they go to Endor, the planet, to with the Ewoks and stuff. And we were told those critters were evil, of the devil. So I think what we need to make sure that we stand in is not fear, but sovereignty. And it was just amazing speaking to her today and saying, she even said sacred feminine is taking charge and very powerful. But if we take one step, goddesses are going to take 10 steps to help us through. And if we keep the sovereignty, it'd be really awesome to watch what's going to happen.
I think what you all need to understand is this is not about goddesses. This is not
It's
about
not.
higher powers. There's nothing here to fucking bail us out.
It's the
us.
sacred feminine in us. Yes.
It is us. There is nobody coming to bail you the fuck out.
Nope.
The Titanic is sinking. And the only thing that's going to save us is all of us making a female human raft to get us all the fuck out.
Yep.
If you don't do this, our daughters will not have a future.
Correct. We talked about that too.
It's
But-
straight up. I'm not telling you to reach to a goddess. I'm not telling you to look to a fucking higher power. I'm telling you to go to the fucking mirror, reclaim yourself, and make yourself fucking accountable. Eve was fucking accountable. The witch of
Mhm.
Endor was fucking accountable. These women in the Bible that you're learning about, they were fucking accountable and punished for being so.
And the reason why
Nobody
I'm sorry.
cared. No, nobody
Yeah.
cared.
I was told that she was put in as an example to show how bad witchcraft was, because, you know, they had to give a little piece to let us know that, you know, she was
She was a
ripped out from the
parable.
gut.
She was a
Mhm.
parable.
Exactly.
Just like the tortoise and the hare. Do you realize your Bible is parables? The holy
Yep.
word inspired by God. Who do you guys remember who actually heard God's voice in the Bible?
400 years later, you mean?
Who heard God's voice in the Bible?
There's even a story in the Bible that says that everything is a parable in the Bible. I don't remember whose voice that was, who heard his
Yeah.
voice.
2 people in the Bible heard his voice.
The schizophrenic saint.
Yep. Yes. Jeanette?
Sorry. I was just going to say that I was at a meeting yesterday with some crones because we're setting up the pagan pride table for their local thing that I don't really belong to. It's part of the UU West Side. It's a cups group. And so they were saying, you know, how can we get more youth interested? And I was like, you're going to have to take it out of the church. Because I spoke up because they were like, we would like to see some of the youth or the people that are younger come in. We're tired. We want to pass things on to, and
How do we get the youth involved? Let me
Right.
tell you. You need a fucking battle cry because they don't want to get behind anything that's not a fucking battle cry. Women between the ages of 15 and 30 need a fucking battle cry. You need a social media movement. Give them a fucking hashtag and they'll follow you to the ends of the fucking earth. Oh, that's right. Fuck the patriarchy. Fuck the patriarchy. You just go, fuck the patriarchy. They're running around, tits out, ass cheeks out, fishnets on. They're ready to fucking burn it down. They don't know why they're going to burn it down. They're like the little kid on Ricky Bobby. Anarchy. I don't know what it fucking means, but I want some. That is the generation.
That's right.
If we want to change the way this movement works, we need to light it on fucking fire, and that means ourselves first.
They did the greatest thing at the Maybon thing that I was just camping at, because the old ladies turned it over, the ones that do the ritual every time. They had a workshop 3 days in a row and let all the younger people write the ritual. It was amazing. And they ran with it, and it was very moving.
And the problem is old broads like us, when it's a little wrong, need to shut up and just let it happen.
Exactly.
Just fucking let it happen.
Right.
Just fucking let it happen. Just step back and
Exactly.
go, I know that's not the way the dishes belong in the cupboard, but I'm going to shut up and let them do them.
Yep.
You know, it's like when your husband fucks something up on purpose because he knows you're not going to ask him to do it again if he does it. No, let's let him fuck it up on purpose. You got to fuck it up. We'll come back at the end of the ritual and we'll put our stamp on it and help. But you guys run it. You guys move it. You guys get it forward. Women like us in the mother queen structure right now have a huge responsibility to take the maidens, put them over our knees and be like, smack them on the ass and be like, come on, it's time to get your shit together. You don't have till you're 40. Come on. We need you to get up now. We need you moving now. We need you to get your kids up. We need you to teach your kids that the earth is important, that the elements are important. Eating at Maybon with apples and shit like that is not just because we like the pumpkin farm. There's a reason we're doing this. And the problem is the Witch of Endor has been taken out. She's been audited from society. Eve's being audited from society. Now Eve's this sexy, voluptuous bitch in Supernatural, and she comes and she rules purgatory. Eve has no fucking interest in purgatory. Loves Supernatural, like me some Jensen Ankles. Ain't gonna fucking lie. I hear the Kansas song come on. I'm like, sexy beast time. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, there's some sexy men coming on. And this is it. But that's not reality. Everything you need to know about life, you have not learned from Supernatural and witchcraft. Everything we need to know does not come from Hocus Pocus and practical magic and fucking Hollywood. Crack a book, bitch. Crack a fucking book. Learn something. When you suck it up, process it, spit it back out. Maybe it's a little wrong. That's okay. I was wrong the first couple times I did some stuff. We've all had sex once or twice. We weren't real good at it in the beginning. You just keep doing it till you get better at it, right? It's the way life works. This is an on-hand experiment. If you want to embody Eve's courage and you want to embody the Witch of Endor's title, you need to do some work. I can't tell you you're going to go out and find tons of shit on the Witch of Endor, because you're not. You're not going to find tons of shit on her. Believe me, I've been doing it. I've been going here, there, everywhere. I found 5 versions of Bibles that had her in. That's it. My husband comes home and I have Bibles all over the table and Bible books. And he goes, what is happening here? He goes, are you okay? Did you go to church? Did you find Jesus? Or is something going on? I'm like, I'm writing a workshop. He goes, I'm very fucking scared right now. He goes, very, very scared. He goes, if you go get the Vera Bradley bags out, I'm done. I'm out. He goes, because that's too much of a change and I can't roll with it. My husband has come into alignment with what I am. But in order for me to move forward and take this trauma out of my life, I need to process this part of my life. And I really feel a lot of you guys do too. Am I wrong? Because I know a lot of you, this sits in resolute with you. Even when you go to the higher levels and you're doing your work, you come back to me going, this is probably wrong. I probably shouldn't be doing this. What would my grandma think? What would happen here? I know some women who are witches now that think their marriages are null and void because they happen in churches. They make their husbands renew their vows in a pagan ceremony because they no longer believe that and they don't believe their marriage is blessed. Do you love your husband? Does he love you? You have a marriage. My husband and I got married in our front yard. We called it the backyard hootenanny because we got married in the front yard and had the reception in the backyard. And I'll never forget it. One of our female friends married us and she was standing there and she looked at him and she said, why do you want her? He goes, because she lights up my life. And she said, why do you want him? I said, because he's my big sexy and I can't live without him. That's how we got married. That's it. That's all it was. I made a choice to commit myself to this man. He made a choice to commit himself to me. If you are not making that choice every day of your life to commit yourself to your craft, it is no good. Your craft is not a secondary thought. You being a witch is not a secondary thought. It is not a whisper. It is a battle cry. If I can ask you anything with the Witch of Endor, I would like you to close your eyes tonight before you go to bed, lying there in your comfortable bed, okay? Your air conditioning running, your heat going, your favorite blankie. Some of you have your fucking television on still, like I told you not to, and your phone beside your fucking bed. Shame on you, motherfuckers. But I want you to lay in that bed and I want you to be naked. And some of you are like, I don't sleep naked. I just want you to do this for an exercise. And I want you to lay there. And I want you to put yourself back in that tent with all the smells around you. Smell the incense. Feel the heat on your skin. Lay back and say to her, what do I need to know to be who I'm meant to be? She will speak to you in your sleep because she talked to me last night and I was terrified. I was more terrified than when Angrboda put me in a tree. Her words were terrifying because she looked at me and said, you are such a fraud if you can't be authentically you all the time. This has nothing to do with anybody else. She scared me. And I don't know if she scared me for the workshop because she was not who I was covering tonight. You are going to hear about Tamar tonight. We'll do her tomorrow. We'll do Tamar tomorrow. She looked at me and she said, my story needs told before I'm forgotten completely. You are forgetting who you are. And if you don't tell your story soon, ladies, you will forget who you are. Sometimes fear and moving forward is the only way to be courageous. She is probably the scariest interaction I've had in a long time, which is why I'm telling you. She's comparable to Hecate for me. I'm going to be very honest. Her archetype is very much Hecate, and I know you've all seen her. You've all felt her energy. This woman was more terrifying. The judgment from her hand on my forehead, I honestly felt like I was going to leave my body. Don't tell me you don't have a wound, because I know I fucking have one. And she fucking bust mine wide open last night. I'm writing just as hard as you bitches. We are going to do this one together. I want to thank you guys for trusting. I want to thank you guys for opening yourselves up once again. If you have questions, do not hesitate. I am going to put plenty of stuff in the tab this week. I'm going to pre-tape some things. I am going where I have internet this weekend, so don't worry. I will be on in the early parts of the day before I go. But I will be on. When I will not be on, but I will be on in the morning. And I will be putting information in there. I have lots of PDFs ready to go. Like I said, Tamar's is already done. But the Witch of Endor, she decided that this was her night. And I get up this morning, I'm like, motherfucker, can't we ever just have a workshop that runs the way it's supposed to? Guess what? That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So you ladies sleep tight. I encourage you to try the exercise tonight before bed. I know that's what I'm planning to do. And I will be getting a nice hot bath before I do it, so I can calm myself down and get in the zone. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope I haven't scared you too much, and I hope she comes visits you tonight. She's quite exciting. You're all like, fuck off. You guys have a great night, and thank you for coming.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.